Hello, my name is Ashley Deadwyler-Jones, and I'm here with my beautiful co-host, Ms. Andrea Evans, and we are here doing what we love to do best, and that is spotlight our very own HBCU excellence. And today we have Mr. Kenneth O'Rourke, Jr., Esquire, that we are interviewing and learning a lot about who he is, how he entered into the excellent institution of Morehouse, what he did while he was there, and now what he's doing today. So Kenneth, please introduce yourself and let us know who you are.
Thank you, Ashley. My name is Kenneth Reginald O'Rourke Jr., Baton Rouge native. Been here in Atlanta off and on since '94. Came to Morehouse in '94, graduated in '98. I'm currently running my own law practice focusing on criminal defense and personal injury. And I'm also a part-time prosecutor in 2 municipalities. Also, I'm a part-time DJ, or I would say I just do it for a hobby, but every once in a while, someone will call me for a private party, or I may even have to DJ in a club or something. And if that happens, hey, I'll take it because I love music. So that's kind of like juggling both of my interests right there. So,
Hey, Kenny, you saying you juggling, but I don't know, you got a good balance because it looks like you're good in court and out of court with music. But let's step back. So let's go back to when it was 1994. It was time for you to graduate and look at colleges. You know, I'm actually from Houston. You're from Louisiana. And we represented for the South, you know, in the AUC. But not a lot of people normally leave Louisiana to go to Morehouse. There's so many great colleges there. So why did you want to go to Morehouse?
Well, I'll even take it back even further. It was 4th grade. I did a book report on Martin Luther King. And then in my research and putting together the actual paper or presentation, I found out that he went to Morehouse College. And what kid back in the 80s didn't want to be like Martin Luther King? So I figured, hey, great person to emulate. Let me go ahead and follow his footsteps. And so from there, I went to Scotlandville Magnet High, which was at the time, it was the second highest ranked magnet school in the state. And a lot of the guys that came before me, class of 93, 2, 1, 90, they were going to Morehouse. And these are guys that I looked up to, very smart individuals and very career focused. And I like that about them. So that, in addition to the want and the desire for me at a young age to go to Morehouse, that was a no-brainer. So to answer your question, I applied to several colleges, including Southern University, which is in Baton Rouge, Dillard University, Xavier. It was 9 HBCUs and maybe 1 PWI. And out of all of them, you know, I wanted to go to Morehouse. I just told my father, I said, hey, yeah, that's where I really want to go. So my parents, you know, they made the sacrifice and made it happen for me.
So it sounds like you had an opportunity to go in a lot of different directions, but there was something that clenched you when you spent some time at Morehouse, or then when you got there, right? Now you have these expectations. You've seen Martin Luther King move in those footsteps. Now you spent hopefully some time and made that decision. Was it all that you expected it to be? And if so, is there anything in particular that really sticks out in your memory of Morehouse?
You know what? I think what it mostly came down to, there was a visit that I took with a friend of mine, Clarence Levy, who's also a Morehouse graduate as well. He and his mother, they were coming to view the campus, and he was going to audition for the band so he could get a scholarship. Well, I said, well, why not just go with him? I already had gotten my acceptance letter. And so I said, let me just go ahead and see what Morehouse was all about. And when I got here, it was beautiful. You know, it was so many folks that looked like me that were had that same drive, that same determination to do great in life. Speaking with some of the professors, and also not to mention the financial aid advisor at the time. And lo and behold, I bumped into someone who later became my mentor, who was Benjamin McLaurin. He was the head of the business department for career placement in the business department. And he made a major impact on my decision, you know, giving me that affirmation that I was making the right decision to come to Morehouse.
Well, look, we are so happy that you made that decision because we wouldn't have been able to meet you and have this amazing relationship that we have with you. So I'm so glad that you chose Morehouse College. Now, I want to ask you though, so you are a big time attorney, owning your own firm, prosecutor. We love that. But what did you major in at Morehouse and how did that prepare you for your career today?
Wow. I was a marketing major. That was my major in Morehouse, and from there I went into pharmaceutical sales. So I did that for about 5 years and got burned out, and then went into hospital sales where I was in the OR and actually learning about laminectomies, lumbar fusions, coronary artery bypass grafts, all these different types of surgeries. And they were quite interesting. And for me to have been sitting in on those cases and helping out and saving lives, that was great. Now, from all of that, what folks don't realize about pharmaceutical sales and also with hospital sales is that you run your own business for the most part. You're given a territory. So let's say, for instance, when I was with the pharmaceutical company, once I moved back from Philadelphia, they gave me Atlanta. So I had everything from northern Atlanta, which is that Chamblee Tucker area, all the way up 85 to Toccoa, Hiawassee, Georgia, which is very country. So I had all of that area. And then when I got into hospital sales, I had the whole state of Arkansas. So having to juggle all of those accounts, having the responsibility to run my own little small business kind of gave me that entrepreneurial spirit, even though I was getting a biweekly paycheck, so it was the combination of those two really kind of gave me that foundation to say, okay, well, let me try something different. I went to law school, came out, and I worked at a small firm with some of our Morehouse brothers. And I worked with them for a couple of years, learned the business from them. And then we parted ways. We still work together on several projects. But from there, I was able to say, okay, let me take what I learned from pharmaceuticals, marketing, and then what I learned in law school, and then merge them together. And that was like kind of the jump start, or the reason why I went on ahead and did my own firm. And we're going on 4.5, almost 5 years now. So it's a great, great feeling, definitely.
So like Andrea mentioned, and you even said you're juggling a few different things. When you're on, you're an attorney. When you're off and you're kind of having fun and you're doing what's a hobby is music. How did you get into DJing, and where did you learn your love for music?
Oh, wow. Great question. It started, the love for music was always there. I grew up in a household where we had musicians. My sisters played instruments. My mother sang. My dad sang. My grandmother was always playing music at the house. And I had a uncle who owned a radio station as well. And so when I was little, he would take me in. I would see for myself what was going on. It intrigued me. And when I was around 12, and let me back up. Do you all remember back in grade school where you would have these little parties and you would have a person that would bring the cake, a person that would bring the ice cream, and a person that brought the music? Well, that was me. So I was DJing at a very young age, maybe first, second grade, bringing Rick James and Lionel Richie albums and Michael Jackson albums to the party. And so from there, in addition to what I learned from my uncle, I was 12 years old. He bought me my first turntable set, and I DJ'd my first real party, quote unquote, where I got paid a good $25. It was in church. It was at a church lock-in. And from there, it just went on. I was DJing in high school, and then it moved on to college. My first year, my mom wasn't having that. She said, nope. And then after that, maybe sophomore, junior, senior year, that's when I started DJing parties for everybody. And I've DJed in almost every major club in Atlanta, and made some great, great relationships along the way. And now that I've kind of settled down into my career, I'm married now, I have a kid. It's more so now, let me find more innovative ways to kind of bring that talent out to the people. And so now I do a lot of live streaming, and I post my mixes on certain websites as well to kind of stay connected with everybody.
Well, hey, Kenny, you light up when you talk about music. So I know that you love it and you're passionate about it. And it's more than a hobby, it's a business for you. And that's amazing that you can be an attorney and have a totally opposite, non-traditional career as a DJ. So congratulations. But I want to ask you, because you know music. Now, if you had to think of a theme of your song, looking back at your college career, what would that song be? And then today, would that song still apply, or would you have a different theme? Because we're talking about the 90s to the present day. So what's 2 songs or 1 song would you choose as your theme?
Wow. Oh man, you got me on that one. Let's see, as I was growing up, man, that's a good one.
Well, I got one for you now. When I think of Kenny O'Rourke, I got to tell y'all, I don't know if you remember this day, Clarence and the whole Louisiana crew, right? He had a crew, and they're still a tight crew. You know, I love the Louisiana crew because Houston and Louisiana have a lot of the same musical influences.
That's true.
And here we go. We're walking up the little incline right in front of Kilgore, and they are doing the Beanie Weenie. They are playing my song. So when I think of Kenny O'Rourke, I think of dancing and I think of the Beanie Weenie. But I don't know. Now, you know music. You've been playing a lot of good songs where everybody can remember what they were doing when that song was playing. So I'm just curious. And I know you're having a hard time because there's so many you could choose from, but just choose one.
Well, I would say Mystical, Here I Go. You know, that one was, and I'll tell you why. When we first got, and you know this, both of you guys know this, when we first got here, the AUC was predominantly playing a lot of East Coast, you know, East Coast, West Coast, because you had the Biggie Pac thing going on and everything. To play Southern music at the time, and I promise you, you all may not believe me, but I literally had to bring my records to the parties because DJs would say, hey, I said, you got that new Mystical? And they're like, yeah, I don't have that. Here you go, side 2, you know, and then they couldn't refuse me. And so that was one of the songs that, and I remember telling Mystical this about 6 years ago when I was back in Louisiana. And I told him, I said, dude, I used to try and break your records everywhere. I mean, like I brought them to different clubs, and because you were a talented guy. And when he did a concert, he opened up for 8Ball MJG and Too Short. And he did that concert and he blew everybody away. He's very talented. And so that Here I Go song, it really resonates with me because that was a song that I was really trying to push for the DJs. And you guys see today, I could play it in Homecoming and you get that oh factor, you know, and everybody's like really hyped. But that's really one of them. And I would say now, man, probably Back That Thing Up by Juvenile. You know, that's the one that's still kind of, you know, it's from then. You know, we had graduated by then, but it came out in 99. But when I play that song in clubs from 99 to right now, it still goes hard. So, and it's a representation of who I am. You know, just the whole Louisiana thing and the whole bounce music, which I love. I mean, that's a major both of those songs are major representations of who I am.
Well, Kenny, I noticed that when you're online and you are DJing, you are playing music and we're all enjoying ourselves, but you also recommend that we contribute and we give back to you so that you can give back to organizations. Can you tell us about some of the organizations that you support and that you encourage us to donate to, and why?
Okay. Well, the main one is 1881 True Blue. And it's an organization, and all of us have experienced and had friends that senior year, okay, it's about March or April, they're thinking they're about to graduate, and all of a sudden you get this letter from the registrar's office saying, oh no, you still owe $1,000, $2,000 in tuition. Well, your parents are tapped out, You don't have anybody you can ask for money, and you're really trying to figure out, how am I going to pay this, because I want to graduate. My grandmother's coming. My great-grandmother's coming to graduation. They've already planned. And that's a very stressful situation for kids now, especially considering that both Morehouse and Spelman are easily $45,000 a year to go to each school, maybe even more now. That's a lot of money. And these kids are struggling for 3.5 years, almost 4 years, to try and make sure that the tuition's paid, and then to get a letter from the registrar's office saying, hey, you know what, you owe $1,000, $2,000. That's a lot to swallow. So this organization takes it upon themselves and says, you know what, how much is it that you owe? 1,000? Okay, you owe 2,000, you owe 3,000, and they go pay it. And they go pay it for these kids and allow them to graduate, go be great, go celebrate with their parents, and then go off to be great people in the world. And so that holds dear to me, because my wife is actually the main person who started it and who came up with it. But we also feed the students as well. This organization feeds the students, and it's for Thanksgiving. Around Thanksgiving time, kids can't go home for Thanksgiving because plane tickets are expensive. If you got someone that lives on the West Coast, it's going to be quite expensive to go, or to New York, or we have kids that are abroad as well too. It's very expensive. So they take it upon themselves to feed those kids Thanksgiving dinner. And they also give them toiletries, they give them supplies, anything to help them out and help their whole experience, the college experience, as much as possible. That's what they do. And so
I love that.
Yeah, I'm just proud to be a part of it. So they're starting with Morehouse and Spelman, and then hopefully they'll head over to Clark and then maybe some other HBCUs along the way. But it's a wonderful organization, 1881 True Blue, and I encourage everyone to try and give to that organization whenever I go live. So up to now, I've raised about $4,500 for those students. And that's the main reason why I get out there and I try and stream as much as possible to not only just help you guys, but to also help these kids as well.
Hey, that's an amazing initiative. And, being a dual degree student, when I was actually at Spelman and Georgia Tech, I was one of those students that was unable to go home for Thanksgiving. And I wish that we had something like that. It was other people that stayed who may have had an aunt or a family member that would say, hey, come have Thanksgiving with me. So that's amazing that you all are really about the community. That says a lot, because you're one of the few people that actually graduated from Morehouse and stayed in the city. And so let's talk about that. So you've seen the city from the 90s to the present. What are you seeing in terms of change? And you are very close with your Morehouse community, your brothers. And so what are you all doing as the class of 98 in terms of fellowship? And do they support this initiative as well?
Yes, actually, I answer the first part. The change has been immense. I mean, it's been tremendous. And Atlanta's not the same Atlanta from whence we first walked on those campuses in '94, as you all know. At the time, I remember, if you all can recall, there was a board on Peachtree Road going toward Buckhead, and it gave the census of how many people were in Atlanta at the time. And I want to say when we first got here in '94, that sign said 1.7 million people. It says 8.7 right now. Mm. So a lot of folks have moved here. Atlanta is definitely a great place for businesses and opening up and doing whatever it is that you decide to do. And I see a lot of the change in the inner city as well, because folks are coming in and they're buying up these old dilapidated properties and putting up new ones, creating value, et cetera, et cetera. In regards to Morehouse, and there is the Alumni Association, and considering that we have close to about 5,000 graduates here in Atlanta, it's impossible to keep in touch with everybody, but I do keep active tabs on individuals, guys that I was really cool with in college and beyond, because we're brothers. We're brothers, to say the least. I mean, that's the foundation right there. So I'll give them a call every once in a while. We'll link up. A bunch of us will get up for drinks. Well, we can't do that now, but we'll get up for drinks. We'll go to each other's houses, and we're active in each other's lives. So if our kids, can grow together, that's great as well. We attend baby showers. We do everything. It's just a major, great community here in Atlanta, and it extends beyond the Alumni Association. So there are many ways to stay active, and we're trying to use all of them as much as possible.
Well, I will say this, you're very brave to have been in the pharmaceutical industry and have graduated from, pharma rep to hospital rep and expanding your territory, getting those really good paychecks. And I know, because I was in the pharma industry for 7 years, and I called it golden handcuffs. I mean, your benefits are great, you got a company car, you're doing it, you're doing very well in that industry, but to redirect your career and take that leap of faith into becoming, an attorney and having your private practice is phenomenal. And what would you say to somebody who's second guessing themselves about leaving that very, very secure, comfortable position and redirecting themselves into an entrepreneurial endeavor like your own?
I would first say, pray on it. Really sit down and have a talk, with those that you love, but first and foremost, have a talk with God and really put it in His hands. It's not an easy, and I know, all of us know that it's not easy to jump off and do your own thing, because you are giving up so much. But here's the thing though, when I talk to individuals about owning their own business or what have you, I ask them quite simply, what would you do if, God forbid it happened, but what would you do if you lost your job today? What would you do? Or do you have enough paychecks to last you until you get another job? Do you have it in you to continue to fight the fight, go to interviews, apply online, go through these phone interviews, go to interviews, not get that job and continue, but you still don't have a check coming in? So how do you make it in those situations? Well, it's kind of like a false sense of security that I think corporate America, or even having a job, gives individuals. And luckily, by my upbringing, and my father taught me how to be an entrepreneur at a very young age, and how to fend for myself. And it's all about survival, and having those survival skills, along with the somewhat of a business acumen to start your own thing, go out there and do it yourself, stay on the grind, and really make something of yourself. It's going to be hard, but it's very doable. And not to mention, it's just so self-gratifying. I mean, to understand, like, oh man, I made this amount of money this quarter, I made this amount of money this year, and and it's all you. No one has anything over you. No one's holding anything over you, or even threatening you with termination of a job. You create your own jobs, and not to mention, from there you can give other people jobs. Once you get going, you can start and grow from there. And remember, this country was built on entrepreneurship, so why can't we do it? I just think that a lot of folks have gotten too used to getting that paycheck, and that's a very dangerous situation to be in. And I didn't want to be in that situation. I wanted to control my own destiny.
Well, hey, you have had an amazing career, and kudos to you, and congratulations for not only being an amazing attorney, an amazing DJ, but also paying it forward. And that's what helps and what really means the most. You aren't asking for any awards or any accolades, and it's a bonus if you do it. But to be so passionate about giving back to the Atlanta University Center is outstanding. So bravo. And so I know you wouldn't want to change too much, because you are standing and you're doing great. But if you had to go back to 1994, Kenny O'Rourke entering the gates of Morehouse, what would you tell that 17-year-old, 18-year-old Kenny O'Rourke looking back?
Oh man. Try and find a balance in everything that you do. I remember my first semester was pretty rough, in terms of getting that balance, because it's so easy to just party. It is, and sometimes you can get off track, but luckily I got back on track and everything was fine. But I would definitely say, continue to think 5 years ahead in 5-year increments, write out a plan, and try and execute that plan as much as possible, and try and follow it to the T. Stay focused, have a laser-like focus, and really take advantage of any opportunities that present themselves. Don't be afraid of anything. If it's a great opportunity and you've kind of vetted it and you've done your research and understand that this is a great opportunity for me and my advancement and development, yeah, take it. Definitely.
Well, Kenny, we salute you. We thank you for joining us today and sharing so many words of wisdom with our viewers, and just inspiring us all around to continue fighting the fight, right? We will be sharing links on how to find you and your law practice, and when to catch up with you on Facebook. But if there's any parting words that what you want to share with us today, let me know, please do. But again, we thank you.
Thank you as well. And just so folks know, we still have the shelter in place, and I'm still doing these, what I would call cabin fevers, at 7 o'clock p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I play all genres of music. It's a wonderful, wonderful party. Everybody parties in the comfort of their own home, and any donations that have been given or will be given, all of that goes to charity. I don't see one red cent of this. This is more so of a partying with a purpose. Not to mention we're not just raising money, but we're partying, but it's also cathartic and very therapeutic for a lot of folks that may be going through a tough time right now. So Fridays, definitely give me a shout. I'm on Facebook Live. And also on Wednesdays, I do Louisiana Wednesdays, which is definitely geared for Louisiana and those who enjoy the Louisiana culture as well. So it's very homegrown, and it just reminds me of home, and because I do miss home. And so those two things right there, definitely check me out. In regards to finding me with my law practice, it's personal injury Atlanta .lawyer. LAWYER, and I'm also on Instagram, OLaw LLC, and I'm here in Atlanta. So any personal injury matters or criminal defense, even if it's a small traffic ticket, we take it seriously at our firm, and we try and give you the best representation that you deserve. And we're always just letting folks know that there is justice in sight. And another thing, this is my other one. So we're not done. So I say this quite often. So we're not done. If you all see me on Facebook and I'm DJing, I'm going to say that quite a few times, because we are not done. The party's going to continue. This representation is going to continue. And I thank you guys once again for having me. I really appreciate both of you all.
Well, thank you
so much, Kenny.
And look, we're not done. You're not done, that's for sure, because you is a true example of HBCU excellence. So thank you so much for taking the time to join Ashley and I today, and for being so inspiring and motivating, for paying it forward. And where can people donate? Because so many people are watching and they're saying, I was that student. I had a $50 credit, or tell us more about where they can donate. And then everybody's going to be tuning in on Wednesday night and Friday night, and I'll see you all on Facebook at the party.
Right. So on Facebook, you can just look up either Kenneth O'Rourke or look up J-Finesse, FINESSE. On Instagram, it's OLaw LLC, at OLaw LLC. And to donate, the Cash App handle is OLAWESQ. Venmo is at Kenneth-O'Rourke without the apostrophe. And PayPal is just my email address, which is japan5k@yahoo.com. JAPAN, the number 5, K as in Kenny, at yahoo.com. So you can find me there. If you want to donate, just go to those cash handles, and it's very easy, very instantaneous.
Well, thank you again. And thank you everyone for watching this amazing and inspiring interview. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.